Hi, I'm Tremes'e Young, and I want to share my testimony with you. As far back as I can remember, things got graphic and things got real for me at just 4 years old. At 4 years old, I remember staying in Calumet City. I can even remember as far back as the preschool I was in. Even thinking about it and talking about it, I can tell you the layout of the apartment me and my parents stayed in, and my sister and brother. I remember one time an aunt and a cousin came to visit us, and I never remembered this cousin until this day when he came. When he came, I know we played, but specifically I remember bedtime. This cousin wasn't that older than me. I was 4, he was 5. And my mom and my aunt, my parents, they decided, I guess, for us to sleep together. And I remember just laying there and just remember him caressing me, touching me. And that ended up with him penetrating me at just 4 years old. So that's where it started for me. That's where the touching inappropriately, the playing house, just all these things that I did as a child, that opened the door for so much more. At 5, my mom decided that we were gonna move from Calumet City to Rock Island, Illinois. So originally we're from Chicago, but she decided that she wanted to just, her and my dad decided they wanted to leave that lifestyle and bring us here somewhere place safe for us to stay, is the mindset that they had. With the killing and the everything that was going on in Chicago, they decided to move us here because they felt that it was safe. But when they moved us here, it wasn't safe for me. When we moved there, we moved into an apartment complex, and we had cousins that stayed in the same apartment complex, different people that stayed in the apartment complex. And I just remember cousins staying at my house or me staying at the cousin's house. I remember a girl cousin that's around the same age as me started having me do things and doing things to me. It's gonna get real, guys, but she was licking me below and she had me licking her below. And I just remember instances and times that this would happen over and over and over again, to the point that I thought it was normal. I thought, oh, okay, this must be what we do. This must be what we do as kids. I never told my parents. I never let them know what was going on. It was just from 4 years old all the way up till maybe 10 or 11. It was just instances of that cousin, us doing oral on each other, touching on each other, to the point where it was other people's house that I was staying at over, and we touching and we doing things, or I'm getting touched. And that opened the door for me to have this desire and this craving at such a young age that whenever I wasn't around those people that we were doing that together, whenever we came around, I start having others do it to me. So I remember having a boy cousin do the same thing that the girl cousin was having me do to him. Have him do that to me. I remember a neighbor with us doing the same type of things to each other as well. At such a young age, we were doing things that we had no business doing. And even as an adult of me thinking about it, I'm like, where did we learn how to do this stuff? Where did they learn how to do it? I know where I learned it from. It got introduced to me. But as I sit and think about it, like how and why, even to tell you how like it had me in the grasp and the grip at such a young age. I remember my mom had this back massager, and I used to sneak and get it out of her room and put it between my legs, because now that door was open that I was just craving at such a young age to this feeling of pleasure, this feeling of just wanting to be touched came upon me at such a young age. So from 4 all the way up to maybe 11, this was happening. I'm saying like, I would go to an unhouse out of town in Chicago, and I remember an older teenage girl doing the same thing. Like I didn't introduce it to, I probably introduced it to maybe 2 people, but everybody, it seemed like that I was going around at a young age, touched me, did things, opened this door, you know? And that just did so much damage in me that as I grew older to maybe a teenager, I have to go back. The girl cousin that introduced it to me, the girl cousin that started doing that, she was so mean, so mean to me. Like she bullied me, she talked about me, she used to threaten me. I used to like pee in the bed. I used to do all kind of things when I was little because of this, that she'll be like, I'm going to tell everybody at the school that you pee in the bed. I'm going to tell everybody at the school that you do this or whatever. Like she was just so mean to me. And even as I was growing older, the body shape and everything that I was seeing of my cousins or other girls that I hung out with, I was on the bigger side. So I got teased a lot. I got bullied a lot. I wore glasses, so people called me Four Eyes. So to just fast forward a little bit to when I came into like 6th grade and 7th grade, I remember asking my mom, like, Mom, can I please get contacts? Like, can I please not have these glasses no more? And in 7th grade, she finally let me get contacts. And when those glasses came off, when I started getting taller and I started slimming down, and boys started like seeing me and noticing me and telling me like, "Oh, you cute," like that was it. That's all it took for me. That's all it took is for a boy to tell me tell me that I was cute and I liked them. All it took was somebody to give me attention, and I just desired it. I craved it. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 15 and a half, 16 years old. And when I did that, it wasn't what I expected, and I waited a long time before I had sex again. But soon as I started having sex, it never stopped. It never stopped for me. I just wanted love. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be caressed. I wanted the attention. I wanted somebody to tell me they love me, tell me I look good, tell me just all these things I just desired. When I was a teenager, I met this boy. And he was in a juvenile facility home where he was able to like visit home, and then on weekends, and then he'd have to go back to the juvenile facility home. And I didn't know that when I met him, but when I met him, I like fell in love instantly. Like he was flirting with me. He was just everything that I liked. So the boy that I met, we dated from 16 all the way up until my son is 15. All the way up until I was around 21. And this whole entire time, he was in and out of jail. He was in and out of jail. Whenever he would go back to jail or get locked up for some type of reason, it just left this door open for me of, I'm not getting that attention. I'm not getting that love. I'm not getting, like, I need a man around. I need somebody around. So even though we were together while he was locked up, I wasn't faithful because he was never around. And I started sleeping around because I was out here searching. Like this void, I always had this void. I always had this desire to just want and need somebody around me. Fast forward to that, he didn't know that I was cheating. He didn't know that I was not faithful to him while he was locked up. And I had this boy best friend. Me and him was friends from the apartment complex I told you guys about, that all those things was happening to me, all the way up until a certain point. So I had this boy best friend. Him and the guy, they hung out, we smoked together, we kicked it. So he accepted him as my best friend. He accepted the fact that me and this guy was just friends. Like literally, we never did nothing. We never had sex, none of that. But again, that desire, that want, that needing something. When that boyfriend got locked back up, I was really trying to be faithful. And the opportunity got presented that me and this friend, we were just like, we gonna do it. Ain't nobody gonna know about it. And when we did that, I ended up getting pregnant with my son. And when I got pregnant with my son, that boy best friend, that one that we was locked in, we was friends for years, he disappeared on me. He disappeared on me, and he went back to the girl that he was with. And when the boyfriend that I had that was locked up, he got out again, I let him know, I had to let him know because me and him was together. I let him know that, hey, I'm pregnant by this person, and he was hurt by it. But we was riding, we was having phone calls, we was having conversations, and he just said, I accept it. When I get out, we still locked in, we still gonna be together. So when he got out, me and him end up still being together. My son was not born yet. I was still pregnant. He was there at the end of my pregnancy. He was there when my son was born. And at this time, he was, he was in the streets. So financially, he was helping take care of stuff. I ended up getting my own place. So he helping with bills. He helping with everything in the house. And things are looking good to me. But it was like a switch went off. Like after we got comfortable, after I was in my place, it's like it got dark. He started cheating, and I had this mindset that, okay, I cheated on him. I did all this stuff to him. I'm just gonna accept it. Like he gonna love me. He gonna get tired of them. He gonna come home. I had this mindset of long as he come home. So it started with the cheating, and then when I was like finally getting like fed up and popping up to places, I'm talking about it was crazy, y'all. I used to like pop up at his grandma's house, knock on the door late night hours. I used to chase him in cars. I used to do the absolute most. I used to blow up his phone. I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you how many times I called this man's phone before. So with all that stuff that was going on, all that toxic behavior, it ended up leading to him putting his hands on me. One time he just, it was like a reflex thing. He put his hand on me. He promised me that he'll never do it again, but it started happening more and more and more. And it was just so toxic. It was definitely something that I shouldn't have had my son around. I remember one instant where we was in the car together. We ended up getting into it, and he hopped out the car, And I didn't want him to get out the car. I wanted to finish the argument. I wanted to finish whatever we was doing, talking about whatever we was talking about. So I started following him in the car. And he got mad at me for following him in the car. And he picked up this brick and he threw it in the back window. And my son was in the back window. And the glass and everything shattered on my baby. My baby was probably only like 9 months. And I just remember something clicking in me. And I was just like, I should not be doing this. Even though I was so young, I'm around 19, 20. I was 20 at this time. Something in me clicked and I was just like, I should not be doing this. Like, I should not be if I'm going to put myself in it, cool. But I shouldn't be putting my son in this. So something finally clicked in me, but I still was doing it. I still was letting him around. I was still letting him come around. And then finally he got locked up again. And this time it was for a while. So that's where I was able to branch off. That's where I was able to, let feelings die down. Because I'm telling you, I don't know if I expressed this before, but I was in love with this man. Even though I did the cheating and all that, whenever he came home, I cut all that off. I cut everybody off. I loved him. We was together from 16 all the way up till I was like 21, 22. So he got locked up and I was able to just get away from that. And when he finally got locked up again, I just had that, I still needed somebody to love me. I had that desire. I need love. I need somebody around at all times. I want. So with being hurt by him, the domestic violence, being cheated on, being treated the way he treated me, I just spazzed out. I spazzed out. I slept around. And he ended up coming back around when he got back out. And I let him come back around, but the love, the bond we had, it was gone. It faded, So I let him come around every once in a while, every now and then, but it wasn't like it was. I wasn't stuck. I wasn't, wanting him the way I used to. In the midst of all of this, I end up contracting herpes. I just thought that was over for me. I thought that was over for me. And I was so hurt by it because I know who gave it to me. And that's what hurt me the most. When I say I slept around, I wasn't like out here not knowing the person. I wasn't out here sleeping with one man one day and another man the next day. Like, no, these were people that I actually had a bond with, was trying to have a relationship with. The only reason that I was sleeping around is because the man that I was choosing wasn't choosing me. So when I say sleeping around, I wasn't out here like that. I was just out here chasing love and laying down with men because I thought they loved me back, thought they liked me back, And I end up letting this ex come back around, but like I said, the love wasn't there. And I end up contracting herpes. And I was just hurt. I was crushed. I was mad. I was angry. I was sad. I felt disgusted. I remember when I first had the outbreak and I just wiped down there. I used the bathroom, I wiped down there and it hurt. And I was like, what in the world? What is that? And I had a person that I knew that had this. I had herpes. And when she described it to me and told me about it, I knew instantly when that happened. I was like, oh my goodness, I think I have this. So I went to the doctor and they didn't call me because I caught a STD before from my ex too, but it was something that I can get rid of. And they call you, they tell you they send your prescription in, and that's it. But this time they asked me to come into the office. And I was like, come into the office? Like, why do you want me to come into the office? So I ended up going into the office, and that's when my doctor told me that I had herpes, that I contracted herpes. So I cried so hard. I was just like, ain't nobody gonna love me. Like, I always had a desire in me to be married. I'm like, ain't nobody gonna marry me with this. And I just remember this one thing, it stuck with me. The doctor was just like, Tremes'e, so many people come into this office that has the same thing that you have. And I done seen them come back married or with a boyfriend. She said, if somebody wants you and they love you, no matter the situation, no matter that you have this disease, if they want you, they will love you. And at that time, I didn't receive it. But as I think about it and look back on it, I'm just blessed that she said that to me, because I take that as the Holy Spirit was speaking through her to me. So that ended up happening to me, and I was just crushed. Like, that made it spiraled even worse for me after that. Of course, around this time, I'm drinking, I'm hanging out, I'm kicking it, I'm smoking. I was doing that before even contracting herpes, but I think after I contracted herpes, it just, things started attacking me. Like, maybe depression would creep in. Just all these things will creep in, and I just wanted to feel good. So I would drink. I would drink to feel good. I would drink to socialize. I always use drinking to socialize. And I just remember it just spiraling, just going out of control. I was still sleeping around with herpes. I was still doing the things that I was doing before even contracting it. And I end up meeting my daughter's dad, and I end up getting pregnant, having her. And again, the same situation, that abandonment, when I got pregnant with my son, I told y'all that was my best friend. We was friends for years, like 7+ years. And he just, disappeared on me. With my daughter's dad, same thing, got pregnant, and he went back to his ex. And it was just that hurt again, just hurt all over again, crushed all over again. And I just remember just feeling so alone. Just like, why don't nobody want me? Like, what is it about me? Because I loved hard. I cook for you. I clean for you. I do all these things for you. And for some reason, didn't nobody ever want to stay. Didn't know it wasn't enough for them, or they would cheat. And I was at that point where, since I went through all that with my ex, if a man cheated, if a man showed me at any instant that it was another woman, I'm like, I don't want that. Like, I want somebody to myself, right? So fast forward, I got 2 kids now, single parent, trying to do whatever it is that I can. So that, trying to get money. I was a hairstylist finally around this time, and that's how I was making my money. So my oldest son, he had to watch his sister sometimes. He had to, and I was just spending most of my time at the shop making money, and spending most of my time in the clubs partying, kicking, drinking. Around in all this, with the trying to find love and trying to just have somebody around. In the midst of this, I slept with married men. I was just out here searching. Let's just say that. I was just out here searching. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I never even told my parents that I got touched all the way up until I was 18 years old. I never told them. So they saw the child in me, the cry out in me of, because like I said, I was bigger, so I ate a lot. They saw the peeing in the bed. They saw the one to sleep with them all the time, I never told them until I was 18 years old. I felt like I should mention that. I kept that in. I kept that bottled in for 18 years. But fast forward, so just not working with the men. Like, I just keep getting my heart broken. I keep getting cheated on. I keep getting abandoned, in a sense. And I finally end up meeting this girl, and we get real, real close. we ended up being like real close. I really didn't call too many people my friend. You know, it was like not too many people that I would call my friend. And me and her ended up getting real close. And then I just remember one day we was drinking, we was hanging out, and she was like, what if I told you I like you? And I was like, what you mean you like me? Of course, duh, you like me. But she was saying and telling me, she was like, no, like, what if I told you I like you and I want to, you know, try things with you? And I was just at a broken space. I was just so broken. So many things, you know, done happened and transpired all the way up until this point. And I'm just like, why not? You know, men keep breaking my heart. They keep abandoning me. They keep leaving me. They give me STDs. Like, why not? And I end up just trying it out with her. And another reason why I said why not also is because it already happened to me majority of my life as a kid. That's the majority of anybody that touched on me was a girl. So I just tried it, and that just broke our friendship, you know, because I was just trying things. I was out here trying to fill a void. I was out here just trying to feel loved. I just wanted somebody to love me, desire me the way I was desiring the affection and the love back. And it just broke our friendship because I reached the point where I didn't even want that no more. I ended up getting falling for a married guy, and me and him was dating for months on months. Almost, no, probably over a year. And I just wanted to tell her, like, whenever I got to the point when I was dealing with somebody, I will cut it off with her. And she just never liked that. She just was like getting jealous. It was just being too much. Like, and I was just to the place like, you just supposed to be my friend. Like, we was just having fun with that. Like, it ain't that deep. It ain't that serious. We're not in a relationship type of thing. So I ended up cutting it off with her. We ended up not even being friends no more. Not because I cut it off. We actually fell off for another reason. And I just feel, again, that was just the Holy Spirit separating me from that, you know, separating me from that confusion and that door, that path that I was going in. So my breaking point, I was dealing with this married guy, and he was the first one. Out of all the men I dealt with, I had certain men around my kids. You know, I did want that father figure for them, but I always had this mindset of, I'm their mom. I got them. I take care of them. Y'all take care of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all love on me. And I end up bringing this guy around, and my son fell in love with him. Like, he fell in love with him. He was coming to his football games. He was playing with my daughter. Like, it was finally at a place where I felt like it was like I had a family, but it was a whole nother woman's husband. And I didn't end up finding that out until later, after it was already too late of me sleeping with him and messing with him. He made it seem like they were separated, but I believe they were still together. So just craziness with him. He didn't like the way I was drinking. And the reason I drank a lot is because I dealt with anxiety really, really, really bad, to the point where I had to get on medication, and I didn't like the way the medicine made me feel. So I used alcohol to calm my nerves. I used alcohol to make me not feel as anxious and have panic attacks. I used to get panic attacks a lot. And he didn't like the drinking. He didn't like that. We ended up falling out because of the drinking. We ended up falling out because the way I was when I was drinking, and I done called the wife. I done did some crazy stuff. I'm starting arguments. So he ended up kind of cutting me off, but still trying to come around. And I was just to the point where I was just like, I'm sick of this. I'm tired of me giving my all to people. I'm tired of people breaking my heart. And not only that, now I have my kids involved. And not only am my heart getting broken, but they getting disappointed. They hearts are going to get broken too if I keep doing this. So in 2020, I finally just chose myself. I finally chose myself, and I had an auntie that's been saved my entire life. Whenever I had panic attacks, whenever anxiety would creep back on me, I would always call her like, Auntie, can you pray for me? Auntie, can you send me scriptures? And she'll always do it. And I just remember during COVID, the anxiety was off the roof. Like it was crazy. I was having panic attacks every day. The drinking wasn't even stopping the panic attacks. I'm waking up out of my sleep, sweating, breathing, heart palpitations. Like it was really bad because I was at a place of, dang, are we about to die from this thing? Like, is the world ending? And if it is, I don't have no type of relationship with God. So I reached out to that auntie and I was like, Auntie, can you pray for me? The same thing I always ask her to do. And this time she said, I'll send you scriptures, but you're going to have to pray for yourself. I was like, dang, I got to pray for myself. So I end up praying for myself. I end up seeking God for myself, seeking Jesus for myself, reading the Bible, reading scriptures. And it gave me the strength to finally value myself. It gave me the strength to finally choose myself. And once I really got locked in and reading the word, watching sermons, and doing everything, I finally went celibate. I finally was focusing on my children. I finally was going to church. I used to be one of those people that went to church only on Easter or Christmas, on special holidays, but I was going to church faithfully on Sundays. It was just, it finally got that bad for me. God broke me down that much that I finally was just like, I'm seeking him. And y'all, when I finally did that, my life changed. My life changed for the better, y'all. I can't believe I'm crying at this part. This is the good part. You think I cry at the, the bad stuff, but my life changed for the better. When I finally said yes to him, when I finally chose myself, not even like 3 or 4 months, he sent the best thing that ever happened to me. The best thing that ever happened to me, my husband. I never shared with nobody that I contracted herpes. I kept it to myself and I still laid down with them. And I carry so much shame, so much guilt because of that, because I don't know. Nobody never came to me and said, Tremes'e, you gave me this. But when I met my husband, Baruch, I remember just seeing his lives and seeing him go and pray on Facebook. Me and this man been around in the same small town all our lives. And in 2020 is when God finally placed my eyes on him. But it was for Jesus in the beginning. I saw him going live. I saw him praying. And I was at that point where I was trying to build my relationship with God. So I was like, dang, is somebody out here my age, on fire for God? Like, is somebody out here on the same thing as me? Like, I got siblings, I got cousins, I got everybody looking at me like I'm crazy, the way I'm stopped drinking, the way I'm stopped partying, the way I'm stopped smoking. So I'm out here really trying to do this Christian walk by myself. So when I saw him, I really reached out just to do Bible study. I just wanted that community, I guess, of believers. I'm like, I need somebody else to help me and walk me through this and teach me. And he seemed like he know it all. But I ended up reaching out to him. We met one time for Bible study and we never separated. We never separated. And I remember as we was dating, and we fell short. We was really trying to court, but we did fall short. And no, I didn't tell him that I had herpes yet, or I contracted herpes. And I just remember the Holy Spirit just kept on telling me for like a week, tell him. And I was like, Lord, like I didn't know at that time. I just had this urgency. I'm just like, what? Why do I keep feeling like I need to tell him this? And one day I just finally chose to just tell him. And I knew it was God. And I was just finally like, I don't care, Lord. If I lose this relationship, if I lose a person that finally just just loves me. Like, he was just authentically loving me. He was authentically caring about me. I never received or felt this type of love before. So when the Holy Spirit told me to tell him, I was scared, but I told him. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I remember we just went to this park we used to walk at all the time when we first met. Like, we went on walks like 2-3 times a day. So I took him to this park, and I parked, and I just let it all out. I let it all out. I let what happened to me as a kid, what that led to, and everything. And I just was like, and all that, you know, in the midst of my confusion, in the midst of me doing all these things, I contracted herpes. And he didn't snap. He didn't do nothing crazy. He just looked me in my eyes, y'all. And he said, I'm sorry that happened to you. He said, I'm sorry that happened to you. And after the, you know, saying that, he needed a moment to think. Like, I just put on him a lot. I'm talking about, I laid it out. There's nothing that my husband don't know about me. But I laid it out at that time. And he needed a moment. And that night, he texted me and just told me he wanted to do life with me. And after that, I think around a month later, he proposed. But my story started off so graphic. It started off crazy. At just 4 years old, a baby. Like, I can't imagine and don't want to imagine my kids having to go through the things that I've been through, the things that I experienced, you know. And at 4 years old, that's what it was for me. It started that way, and it led to a road of destruction. But God turned it all around. He turned it around for this very moment. God uses me in transparency to let others know that you're not alone. And if in any way my testimony touched you, if any way you went through anything that I've been through that I just shared, I want to first tell you that you're not alone. You're not the only person that experienced it. And there's better. There's more. God can turn your hurt, and he can heal you from it. He can heal you from it. I never expected to be married with the type of reputation I had, with the things that I told my husband. Like, I knew he loved me all the way up until that point. We sat in the car and I shared everything. I thought it was over. But when God sends you someone, no matter what, they are for you. So yeah, that's my story. That's my testimony. I wrote a book called Hurt to Healed that can be purchased on Amazon by me, by Tremes'e. And it shows you guys. I put this shirt on. I felt led to wear this shirt because God definitely redeemed me. He redeemed me. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. But I love you guys. I felt led to share my story. I felt led to share my testimony. And I just pray that it blesses someone. I pray that it brings you up and from under all that shame, that guilt, that embarrassment. And I'm going to end it like this. The day I met my husband, around the time I met my husband, that's when the outbreaks stopped for me. So, yes, I contracted herpes in the world by sleeping around. But I no longer have herpes. God healed me from it. Like, soon as I was transparent, soon as I let it out, he took it from me. So that's another testimony in itself. But I pray this blesses someone. I pray you be encouraged and know that your story does not end there. In Jesus' name. Love y'all.